Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Dave Rubin, and please welcome Orlando Magic star Jonathan Isaac.
Be a bit of a problem. Not bad. All right, man, standing ovation before you did anything. Pretty good.
Makes me feel welcome, though, so appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think they were just trying to measure up. I guess the real question.
Get everybody tall.
6'11", that's the answer to the question. I know everyone's thinking the same thing. 6'11". I'm going to let Jonathan do most of the talking here, but I do have to say that my true dream in life was to be an NBA player.
He was telling me he's pretty good, too.
Well, what was the funny part of that? Yeah. Now I'm 45 with a torn ACL in my left knee. He's got a torn ACL in his left knee. Repaired. But we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But your story is just really freaking unbelievable, and it's so consistent with everything we've been talking about at this conference of people standing up for what they believe in and taking unpopular positions in this very weird time. So maybe first, before we get into some of that stuff, could you just tell people a little bit just about your history and just what got you to the NBA, and then we'll unpack the rest of the stuff.
Okay, so hi everybody. I would say my history, I was born in Bronx, New York. I have 4 brothers and 1 sister. I moved from New York to Florida when I was 10 with my mom, my brothers, and my sister, and over the course of time just fell in love with basketball. And over time and playing, I went to Florida State for a year, so shout out to whoever said go Noles. And then I found myself in the league, the 6th pick. I had I don't know how many of you are in here in the room are Christians, but I had my coming to Christ moment while I was a rookie in the NBA. And that has been my, I guess, just like guiding force in figuring out what it is that I'm going to do and trying my best to become what God has called me to be. But I think what has gotten me on this stage is both my love for philosophy and thought and conversations and being able to talk to people from completely different backgrounds. I think it's clear that I'm really not supposed to be here based on what I look like, but I'm glad to be here. I'm thankful for the invite, and I'm glad to be able to talk to everybody that's here. And yeah, so those 2 things have kind of been my navigation. I fell in love with Jordan Peterson and you and a lot of the people who are just constantly talking, not necessarily about the left versus the right, but the ideals that that pin our country as it is. And I think a lot of those ideals are the spirit of Christ. And so so it's led me to being the only one to stand for the national anthem, and now with this vaccine mess. And now I'm at the National Conservatism talking to Dave Rubin, so I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
I like how he couldn't even say it with a straight face, it's like. Wait, let's talk a little bit more about standing for the national anthem, because we're going to get into the COVID stuff, but that in and of itself, that was when you guys were in the bubble?
Yeah, that was August of last year.
And what was that like? Like, did you have to think beforehand, okay, I'm going to do the unpopular thing? Did you know what everyone else was going to do? Were guys talking about it?
It was crazy. So, right around the time, obviously, looking at everything that was happening in the country with George Floyd and knowing that with Black Lives Matter, there was going to be some type of demonstration or, the people who were protesting or in the streets or whatever. But when it came to the league, a lot of guys got together in the teams and everybody and had decided that what they wanted to do was kneel. And kind of from that onset, I was already like, I don't think that is me, because of, my understanding for myself that wearing a t-shirt or kneeling for the national anthem does not go hand in hand with supporting Black lives. And when I've looked at my life and how it's been supported by the gospel and by Christ, I was saying, I don't sit high enough to look down on any group of people or anybody for what happened in that specific situation, and didn't feel it was my right to do that. And it wasn't in protest to anybody's protest. I respect everybody that decided to kneel, but for me, it wasn't the right thing for me to do. And yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny. It's like you're sort of laughing at being at the National Conservatism Conference, and yet it's very obvious in 5 minutes why you're here, right? Like you got it, you got it. What kind of blowback? Did you get blowback from the players? Were players upset with you? Was the league upset with you? I mean, we saw what the media kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, I had conversations, and that's ultimately what I set out to do. I knew that being able to talk to people and my desire to have conversations and sit down and talk about, you know, my reasoning and saying that Christ is the answer for the problems that we see in the world, and until we can humble ourselves and reckon with that, we won't see real change at a heart level of individual people. And so I believed that for myself, and I was like, I'm ready to talk to people about it. So I had a lot of conversations with, you know, different guys in the league, and was able to talk to different people. But, you know, the blowback from the media and everything, and even, you know, being here at the conference again, I know that it's coming, but I don't think that, you know, that not coming, I think not coming owes a greater price than coming. They're not coming. And so, yeah, but what I will say is that the outpouring of support and love from people that thought the same as me, you know, who have been supported by the gospel in their own lives, or people who just had their own ideal or respect for the flag or the country in any degree, you know, agreed and supported, and it was a lot more positive than negative. And so I was grateful for that.
Yeah, and I know that you step into these things honestly and earnestly, because when I messaged you, we had started messaging over the last couple of weeks, and when I said to you, I'm going to be in Orlando, and, you know, will you come to the National Conservatism Conference, you were like, yeah, I'll come. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I come? And here we are. So what really put you on the map after that, separate from basketball, was this incredible press conference that you did. This is about 2 months ago now or so, where you started talking about why you chose not to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most of the people have seen it here. But you gave, as I said on my show, what I thought was the most thoughtful, coherent, honest answer related to personal choice and all that stuff. So can you kind of sum up what you said, and actually how did that even come to pass that you had to talk about it?
Yeah, so just to take you guys back, the night before, I'm sitting in my bathroom and I'm like, what am I going to say? Because, and how it started was, you know, with deciding not to get the vaccine for the reasons that I had laid out. You know, I've had COVID already. I think the science continues to come out that, you know, our reaction to natural infection is robust and long-lasting in terms of immunity. I'm young, I'm healthy. You know, the vaccine not stopping infection or transmission, and just the opening yourself up to the possibility of having an adverse reaction to the vaccine. And then that on the other side of that, all of the hysteria and the craziness around not allowing people to have free choice, and just feeling like people are just beating people up over this thing that should be everybody's free choice, and the media's handling of it all. And so what happened was that Sunday, a couple of days before that Sunday, I had a journalist call me from the Rolling Stone, and he's like, you know, just, you know, good faith, and just like, oh, you know, I just want to get your ideals about the vaccine and how you feel about it. And I'm like, sure, talking to him, and then the story drops on Sunday, the day before the press conference, and it's like, Jonathan Isaac came to his vaccination status by watching Donald Trump and studying Black history, and I was like, what? I was like, no, yes, and I was like, okay, but I have this opportunity on Monday to kind of clear the air and share what I really feel or what I really think, and I'm sitting in my bathroom like, okay, what am I going to say? I'm like praying, God, give me the words to say, but I didn't expect all of this to come out of it, so I'm glad that I didn't know that this was going to come out of it, because I would have been way more nervous. but I was able to just get up and just share from my heart. I think even a lot of people in here and you is just it is a sincere desire to move forward as a people, as a country, and to help as many people as possible. And so that's why I'm here, and that's what I aim to do.
Yeah. Did you secretly get support from some other players? Because I'm guessing there's got to be a lot of players that did not want to do this and certainly wouldn't take the public position, but maybe privately were reaching out to you.
Yeah, and in respect to those guys, even take LeBron with what he said. He said that he did his own research and him and his family got vaccinated, but he felt that it was everybody's decision to do that for themselves. Draymond Green, Bradley Beal, these other guys. So shout out to them for taking that stance. And I think a lot of other guys in the league feel that way because we have the PA that says that, the league can't mandate the vaccine for us. So that was a decision on the players' part to say, even though I'm vaccinated, I don't think it should be mandated for the other players. So, shout out to the guys in the league for that.
Yeah, and thankfully you're here in Florida, here in
Yes.
Orlando specifically, because, Kyrie in Brooklyn's in a whole different situation where New York was going to do certain things and then the Nets jumped on top of it. So you're also doubly sort of blessed to be here in Florida. I guess it's not an accident.
Absolutely a blessing. I'm glad to be in Florida with everything that we have going on. And yeah, it's unfortunate for the Kyrie situation. And, I just feel like he has he gets a great deal of respect from me for the courage that it takes to not only say no, but to forego money and everything that he's doing. And he really does care about the people who are losing jobs and feeling like they don't have a place to turn in this whole matter.
So let's talk a little bit more about philosophy and religion and belief, because I know that's really your thing. And when I messaged you, I saw you followed me, and I was like, oh man, NBA players following me, this is great. Like, I'm going to talk about basketball. And then immediately you wanted to talk about Jordan Peterson, and I was like, all right, we can do that too. We could do that too. But you've really thought seriously. I mean, even just in the 5 minutes we chatted back there, you've thought seriously about the issues that this conference is about belief and government and how we go about living our best lives and all of these things. Were you always a believer? Was this something you were taught very young? Did you come to this later in life?
Well, I grew up Christian. My dad we were in church every day. It felt like learning, like memorizing whole psalms and all that stuff. But as I got into basketball, kind of just took over. And I found my identity in basketball in the game. And if I was playing well, I was up. If I was playing bad, I was down. And I found that was, my form of wanting to be loved to a degree and trying to find it in all the wrong places. But what I found in Christ, in coming to the league and pretty much being able to experience everything that I thought I wanted, that his love for me has transcended the love of people in a real, tangible way in my life. And wrestling with his unconditional love has gotten me to the place that I am today and helped me to be a better person and a better man. And then when it comes to, the philosophy part, I've always felt like I've been a thinker. People used to tell me, you always, you don't talk, you just think and observe. And I've always been somebody that tries to dissect what's going on. Like, if two people are fighting, I'm like, okay, what happened here and what happened here? I'm trying to get to the bottom of it and figure out what was the trigger or what in their life set that, but whatever. and so when this whole thing broke with Jordan Peterson, and looking into the story of obviously the Bill C-16 in Toronto and all that stuff, and I'm like, he doesn't strike me as a white supremacist. And so being able to just dissect it all and have those conversations and understand that a lot of that stuff was coming from an emotional, people in that situation and people who have been influenced in a certain direction. I just dove into his lectures and everything that he's talked about, and then through him found Drew with the whole tour and a bunch of the other people who were here that have spoken and talked and all that stuff. I just started to get into it and just learn, not from a right or left perspective or a conservative or liberal perspective, but from just a strictly, philosophical perspective about how we as people go about living together and create what are the best grounds to create a free society for people to navigate and to grow and be free, and then also pair that with supporting people who, to a degree, with our history and, things that have happened socially and economically bring support to people, but it's just about the best way to go about doing it. And I think that the more we're able to talk about it and be honest about the things that we feel and be able to come to a National Conservative Conference and be black and talk about it and go to other places, it'll ultimately be for our good.
Man, I feel bad for J.D. Vance because he could have given the keynote tonight, huh? I definitely don't need to be here right now. Well, with all that in mind, what do you think maybe sort of politically? You saw some of the names of the people that are here. These are heavy hitters in the political world, people that are trying to make some sense of the madness. What do you think some of us could be doing better?
I think that during this time, okay, I'll say this. So I saw a video of like Bill Mayer talking, and I think I understand where he falls politically, but I heard him talking about the vaccine. I'm like, this is a common sense position, dude, that probably doesn't agree politically with a lot of the people in the room. And I'm like, with everything that's going on and people feel like they're being abandoned by common sense, because he's like, this doesn't make sense, natural immunity is real. And I'm like, yo, I agree with you. But being able to reach those people in a way that kind of leaves the conservative, not ideals and not space, but leaves the way that conservatism has been branded by people, and being able to reach people that just care about working and providing for those families, and being able to reach them in a real way with their ideas, and being able to lay out how this thing is going to work to move the country in a better position. And so I think that during this time, there are a lot of people who have common sense that are saying what's happening is crazy. And there's a lot of things that are going on that aren't, even though they're framed to be in the best interests of people, when you dissect them, down to each personal level, it doesn't. And so being able to reach those people in a real way, I think, is how we move forward.
I hate to do the identity politics version of this, but since identity politics has been such a theme here, do you think conservatives, or whatever this new thing that's sort of developing right now, can do more with the black community? Is there a way to do it that is honest and not pandering and is right and healing and any of that stuff, do you think?
I mean, I think absolutely. I think it's like double-sided. It's can we promote freedom and personal choice and giving people the tools to become all that they can be in this system of capitalism and entrepreneurship and all that, while honoring and respecting the history of our country and the social and economical problems that have happened to the black community. Can we do both? And can there be a clear message that reaches the black community where take me, for example, like being able to play basketball and make money, and somebody that's able to go out and work and become, who I am today, that's great, but not everybody is in that position. So can you, at the same time, give me the freedom to be a basketball player and go out and make money and be great, but at the same time, honor that somebody else that looks like me isn't in that same place to do so, and provide support, not cater to or baby or pacify, but provide support in a real way, and being able to cut through a lot of the language and the white supremacists and all that stuff that's been thrown. I don't think any of you are white supremacists in here, but
you do know that you'll be a white supremacist by the time the night is through. That's how it works.
But look, I think that only shows that it doesn't mean anything, and it takes away. And it takes away from the word and what it really means and how terrible that thing is, to call everybody that. So I think that there is a way to articulate what I just said to people of color and minorities in a way that they can jump on board as they look around and see that it's not really somebody who may profess that they have their best interest at heart, but don't. And so if the message is able to be tailored and handled the right way, I think there is a way forward.
My last question, since we're running out of time here, we want to be respectful of everybody. What else is on your mind? I mean, that's really all I got. Is like, you strike me as somebody that you will be here next year giving a talk properly yourself. Yeah. I mean, really, you weren't here for these last 3 days, but the things that you have said in these 20 minutes have been exactly what this conference is about. Trying to figure out where those differences, religious, philosophic, political, how do we piece that together to get to something better? You nailed it.
Cool.
So what else is on your mind? You got the floor.
What else is on my mind? I think that's it. I want to, you know, when you're talking about like black people or people that look like me or people who are in this space that don't feel like they have the tools necessary to stand up for what they believe in, and to me feel, you know, they have been influenced in a certain direction away by the media, by all the people that are at hands to make money in a certain direction. I'm like, how can I provide the tools that have been afforded to me through Christ and through just how I've thought and package it in a way. And so this is not to just the plug, but I am working on a book right now, and it's called Why Stand. And what it is it takes the journey of my life and, you know, being a young kid and experiencing racism at a young age and being somebody that at a time would not be on this stage or stand up for what he believed in, but finding my courage, finding my strength and confidence in Christ to then step out and be the only one to do something. And so kind of packaging that in a way to give people the tools and the confidence and the courage to step out and stand for what they believe in.
You know, it's funny, I'm listening to you and I'm looking at you and I'm going, man, I wish I could do what you do for a living, and look how easily you just did what I do for a living. That is messed up. Well, I'll end with one last thing, which is, you know, during my speech earlier this morning, I said, you know, we'll see what happens sort of with the Republicans. Is it going to be Trump? Is it going to be DeSantis? Could be somebody else. They all got various rounds of applause. But I'm pretty sure it could be Jonathan Isaac, everybody. I'm going to get out of the way. Give this man a round of applause. Thanks, man. That was awesome.
Appreciate you, man.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Stop it.